Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla beating delivery expectations, new Robotaxi features coming to the Model Y, Cybertruck updates, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Tesla just closed out the quarter and reported delivery numbers better than expected. They said, quote, "In the second quarter, we produced approximately 411,000 vehicles and delivered approximately 444,000 vehicles. We deployed 9.4 gigawatt hours of energy storage products in Q2, the highest quarterly deployment yet." The breakdown here shows Tesla producing 386,576 Model 3s and Ys and delivering 422,405 of them. For all other models, Model S, X, and Cybertruck, they produced 24,255 and delivered 21,551. Technically, their total deliveries were just 44 short of 444,000. Wall Street had expected about 438,000, so Tesla did exceed expectations there, which is great to see. This officially marks Tesla having delivered over 6 million vehicles since the Model S started production in 2012, and it marks another quarter where they outpaced BYD in pure EV sales. That's very impressive to see and goes against what many have been worried about. As plenty of headlines will express, Tesla still delivered fewer cars this quarter, but overall this is a solid quarter with all other factors considered. The other piece that's really impressive here is how much Tesla's energy storage products grew. As pointed out by Electrek, quote, "That's not only a new record, but more than twice the amount deployed in the last record quarter." This is a part of Tesla's business we will likely see continue to grow, and it's one many people aren't entirely aware of. Next up today, Tesla has been hard at work on their fully autonomous Robotaxi vehicle for a while now, and we are rapidly approaching the August 8th reveal of this car. Taking human drivers out of the equation could be an absolute game changer for the transportation industry, and Tesla believes that it will eventually be among the cheapest and most widely used ways to get around, if they can accomplish it. Implementing a universal fleet of self-driving rideshare vehicles sounds great, but beyond the base issues presented by the autonomy software, there are tons of small problems that don't immediately present themselves and need solving before being rolled out. In order to implement this Robotaxi network, Tesla is having to think of those problems now so that they can preemptively implement solutions. The main ones that come to mind for current owners thinking about their cars ending up on a Robotaxi network involve charging and how random people will treat their cars. It seems very likely that inductive charging will be Tesla's solution for a dedicated Robotaxi, which will require quite an infrastructure expansion, but for cleaning, they have something very interesting in mind. Tesla has just filed a patent for an automated car sanitization system that could be implemented into every Robotaxi. It's called Controlling Environmental Conditions in Enclosed Spaces. With this technology, the car could utilize an image sensor, an acoustic sensor, a thermal sensor, a pressure sensor, a capacitive sensor, a radio frequency sensor, or a gas sensor to keep track of the environment inside the vehicle. The patent application even has an image outlining what this would look like in the car itself to a degree. This is definitely the general shape we're expecting for the Robotaxi, although this very much is the shape of Tesla's cars in general, and this shows a steering wheel. That could point to a couple things, which we'll talk about in a second. In any case, from there, the vehicle with this technology can use a series of UV lights and heaters to sanitize the inside of the vehicle in between passengers. Tesla's patent specifically says, quote, "Shared spaces present advantages in cost, efficiency, and environmental sustainability. For example, an automobile providing transportation throughout the day for multiple persons provides lower transportation costs and environmental footprint than an automobile used by only one person for personal commute. However, shared spaces have a disadvantage of facilitating indirect transmission of communicable diseases through contaminated air or surfaces. Current means for sanitizing shared spaces, for example, manually wiping touch surfaces using disinfectant wipes, can be time-consuming, laborious, and lead to unsatisfactory sanitation conditions. Additionally, such manually implemented activities may not be easily verifiable." This is one of those things that will definitely be necessary, but also could end up with Tesla creating a very complicated solution to the problem. They're always on the path to eliminating sensors with self-driving, so while they get that system down to just cameras and an FSD computer, for cleanliness in the car, arguably a much simpler job, they may have a ton of additional ones. That all adds to cost, but of course it's either hire humans to clean and manage these Robotaxis, or make a system that can keep them relatively clean and safe the vast majority of the time. While sharing a fleet of autonomous Robotaxis across a lot of passengers definitely has clear benefits, it does introduce problems regarding overall cleanliness and the potential to pass along illnesses. Tesla does recognize the need for effective sanitization in these vehicles, and they're working on a way to solve that problem. This is just one of the dozens, if not hundreds, of small issues that have to be considered when shifting towards an autonomous end-to-end system. I'm sure that once Tesla is ready to show off the Robotaxi, we will see many features like this end up in the final design, tackling issues that you might not even anticipate on the surface. But it's always important to remember that many companies simply patent what they are working on as to ensure they are covered for when or if it comes to be. We saw a patent for Tesla's laser windshield wiper replacement in the past, and of course that has not been seen. This could very well be something they are curious about but never actually make, or it could be something that comes in the first generation of this vehicle. With that said, it does raise the question, if Tesla is working on this technology for the Robotaxi, would this also be something that we could see come to their other cars first? At the end of the day, Tesla has always talked about their current cars, including all of the hardware necessary to deliver FSD in the future. This would allow for any customer who has one of those cars to put their car on the Robotaxi network once the software is delivered. So soon, if Tesla figures out how to implement this technology fully, maybe we could see them offer an additional Robotaxi-specific hardware package on their consumer vehicles. It's an $8,000 upgrade to buy the FSD software today, but maybe an option on a car like the Model Y, along with paint color and wheels, will be the Robotaxi-specific package. It could include specific extra protecting seats, wireless charging capability on the bottom of the car, and this new automatic cleaning package. Instead of those features being included by default, the added cost of this sensor suite and everything involved to deliver this is an upgrade that you pay for. Then you get your car, you drive it yourself, have it drive for you, and then put it on the Robotaxi network and know that it will at least stay reasonably clean automatically. That sounds like a very interesting idea and would especially be interesting if Tesla offered a retrofit. In the past, they have offered retrofits for certain features that improved later in hardware, but this one seems complex enough for them to need to redesign the car to a degree, or it would be a very expensive retrofit. Either way, do we expect this to come to the next Model Y? Maybe not, but we might learn about this technology and what it brings on August 8th. It seems likely that Tesla will show us at least a bit more than, here's the shape of the Robotaxi, once we solve FSD, this is what it will look like. But we'll have to see. Next up today, the Cybertruck has continued to make a big splash since its release, and while many love this unique vehicle, others have had their fair share of problems with it. While a big part of the marketing of the Cybertruck has been based around its built-tough design, it is ultimately still just a car and is not indestructible. Even though some customers have only had their vehicles for maybe a few months, a few have already appeared online and been reported as totaled. We've already seen many instances where, due to the limited availability of parts, repairs and replacement parts can be very expensive. One owner was quoted nearly $2,800 to replace a rear quarter panel, and those prices have left some insurers a bit hesitant to cover these vehicles. Now we're seeing our first totaled Cybertrucks appear for auction on the IAA website. The first instance makes a lot of sense as to why it was considered total. The Cybertruck was involved in a forward collision that left a big dent in the front and deployed the airbags. As we can see in some of these photos, it caused a lot of damage to the front half of the vehicle, and these kinds of crashes often cause unseen structural damage all throughout the vehicle. While the Cybertruck was designed to be tough, the ultimate priority is ensuring the safety of the occupants, even if the vehicle can't be driven away after. This other Cybertruck was deemed unrepairable due to flooding damage, with a flood line that actually stopped below the cabin. Elon Musk has talked about the Cybertruck being somewhat waterproof, and that the Cybertruck was built so that it could briefly serve as a boat. This is of course an Elon promise that a lot of people were skeptical of, and Tesla has been clear that it's not capable of this yet. And this kind of water damage is not specifically covered in the warranty. The Cybertruck does still have a built-in wade mode that raises the ride height and pressurizes the battery pack to allow for crossing of water. That wade mode does say that you shouldn't go deeper than 2 feet 7 inches though, or to be in the water for longer than 30 minutes. This floodline doesn't seem to go higher than that limit, but perhaps it was submerged for longer than the 30-minute limit, or not in wade mode or something else. Still, this definitely doesn't look good for the Cybertruck acting as a boat even for a brief amount of time. Even with some sort of future retrofit, it doesn't seem like it's meant to be. Beyond just accidents, some owners have been reporting technical issues with their vehicles. One owner just recently took delivery of his second Cybertruck after experiencing big issues with his first vehicle, and this new one hasn't fared much better. One day, the owner reported that his truck could not get started at all, and that his charging cable couldn't be removed from the vehicle's charge port. While a lot of people haven't had any problems with their trucks so far, it's a sign of both remarkably bad luck and some underlying design flaws that one customer could have 2 fatally flawed trucks be delivered to him. The Cybertruck is a pretty innovative vehicle in a lot of ways, and unfortunately, that means that the first generation of owners have had to act as beta testers of a sort. Hopefully these issues can be ironed out quickly so that they won't be impacting the growing numbers of customers who are both receiving and continuing to drive their vehicles. New invites are still being sent out for these vehicles in the Foundation Series form, and despite previous claims to the contrary, it seems as though Tesla is going to be only delivering the Foundation Series for a while longer. Just a few weeks ago at Tesla's shareholder meeting, Elon told an investor that sales of the Foundation Series would end very soon and that normal production would begin sometime in Q3. Now Tesla has added some verbiage to the newest wave of customer invites that seems to extend that timeline by quite a bit. The invites now say, quote, "Due to continued high demand, we expect to deliver only the Foundation Series through late 2024. Perhaps they saw a big influx of orders after Elon said that they would stop producing it soon, but either way, it seems like Foundation Series production will be sticking around a bit longer. The most recent batch of invites has gone out to customers who ordered as late as February of 2023. Perhaps rather than leaving potential money on the table, Tesla is going to send out invites to every customer on the list so that they can sell as many Foundation Series trucks as possible. That definitely makes sense. Once they've either sold it to or been denied by everyone who has wanted one, then Tesla might start producing the standard truck at normal pricing. New customers who opted for this trim are finally starting to receive their Foundation Series with the tactical gray trim inside. Any customers now who order a Foundation Series truck can opt for this gray interior instead of the limited white trim. Many people will definitely prefer this darker trim, so it's nice that Tesla is starting to offer those to customers. The Cybertruck is definitely a lot of things, but there are problems going with it and a lot of exciting things about it, so hopefully Tesla can work these things out. For now, they are still going strong with the Foundation Series Cybertruck, and people are willing to pay up for this truck, even though they're somewhat of beta testers for the time being. Next up today, Tesla is often at the forefront of innovative vehicle design. The company has been pushing the envelope from the very beginning, and now there is a new potential technology that could shake up the auto industry. For decades now, the basis of tire design has stayed pretty consistent, and they are pretty similar across all makes, models, and years. Now, one company is developing a tire that could shake up the entire industry, and Tesla seems to be interested. Michelin is currently working on a new design for special airless tires that are deep in the testing phase. This project, nicknamed UPTIS, which stands for Unique Puncture-Proof Tire System, could offer a bunch of benefits over traditional tire design. These tires use a special design of open-cell internal structuring that gives the tire shape without needing to be inflated with air. This means that the tire has greater flexibility over traditional tires while also being puncture-proof and stronger overall. They expect these tires to last 3 times longer than traditional tires, while also reducing materials waste and emissions. It was reported that Tesla was in talks with Michelin to begin testing these tires soon, but the tire maker has actually denied those rumors. If these tests are a success, however, then Tesla would likely adopt them pretty quickly. These airless tires are much lighter, more environmentally friendly, and might even be more aerodynamic as a result. If they are truly efficient, then that could be a huge boost to the performance of all cars and EVs. The tires that you put on your car can have a much bigger impact on vehicle performance than you might think. Tire Rack did a test on 9 different tires equipped on the same Model 3 and found a 29-mile difference between the best and worst performing tire set. Tesla has partnered with companies to produce special tires for their vehicles, so if these airless tires are a success, then Tesla could absolutely partner to implement them. These tires are still very much in the testing phase, but it's always exciting to see companies looking into implementing big new changes that could shake up the way we think of vehicles, something that Tesla is definitely well known for at this point. Next up today, the Boring Company has been making huge progress on a tunnel connecting Giga Texas and a new expansion to that factory. What makes this tunnel a special accomplishment is that instead of using traditional methods, the Boring Company has developed a special technology called proof rock. It's, quote, designed to construct mega infrastructure projects in a matter of weeks instead of years. Their third iteration, Proof Rock 3, was first spotted in January this year. It broke ground recently at Giga Texas after weeks of tunneling. Now the company has announced that this cyber tunnel will be online by July of 2024. They posted a video on X of the machine emerging from the ground. Quote, Proof Rock 3 has emerged in the Tesla Giga Texas expansion. Cyber tunnel will be online in July. They also posted a time-lapse of it emerging. Proof Rock 3 tunneled right under Pickle Parkway, a state expansion to get to the Giga Texas expansion. The Boring Company said, quote, TBM retrieval inside buildings has awesome applications for Loop, can pop up in parking garages, factories, convention halls, and even hotel lobbies. There they are teasing their other tunnel projects in Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Convention Center Loop runs under the city's convention center and recently celebrated its 2 millionth passenger. They're currently working on expanding that loop, so we'll be looking out for that announcement as well. Overall, it's great to see the Boring Company making progress towards this technology. They say on their website that this machine's, quote, medium-term goal is to exceed 1/10 of human walking speed, which is 7 miles per day. They have already created the most efficient way to bore a tunnel we've ever seen, and it's only going to get faster from there. From here, we'll see what kind of impact this tunnel has on the efficiency of Giga Texas. Next up today, we've talked a lot about how the looming threat of extremely affordable electric vehicles from China has Western automakers scared. While none have made their way to the US yet, Chinese EVs have been making huge waves across Europe and Asia, with prices coming in well below the competition. The US recently announced a nearly 100% tariff on imported Chinese electric vehicles as a way of preventing them from entering the market and severely undercutting local competition. The EU, who has already started seeing Chinese-made cars make waves in their markets, has just announced their own tariffs on any cars from that country. After a long investigation, the EU published a study that found subsidies from the Chinese government into vehicle production were, quote, unfair and hurt domestic European automakers. With that, they announced their plans to impose additional tariffs on a number of Chinese EV brands, on top of a pre-existing 10% duty on imported electric cars. 3 automakers were singled out in the tariffs. BYD will get an extra 17.4% import duty, Geely will get a 20% increase, and a whopping 38.1% increase on vehicles made by SAIC, a company owned by the Chinese government. Other Chinese automakers will have additional duties of at least 21% tacked on. Members of the EU Commission have reached out to Chinese officials to, quote, explore possible ways to resolve the issues, but if the talks are not successful, then these tariffs will start on July 4th. With these tariffs, Western automakers have held out a bit longer in the face of Chinese competition, but ultimately the success of those brands points to a market niche that the West is neglecting. Chinese cars have been so successful because they are offering a decent product at an affordable price. Once domestic automakers actually get their affordable vehicles to market, then I think that will do a lot to quell their fears of foreign competition. But it will be tough. They have a lot to catch up on. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see how Tesla maintains such a competitive advantage, even as competition comes to market, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.